Welcome everyone, Mate Talk time. Bada bing, and it is good to be before you all. I have a super exciting Mate Talk today, and I'm super pumped to get it all ready. I'm covered in beautiful perfume. I smell amazing and divine. First, hope you have an awesome drink. I thought I was going to say something else. Well, actually, I thought I was going to say something else. But let me do announcements. So first announcement is the members. I'm going to talk about membership at the end of this particular episode. What does that actually mean? Then let's talk a little bit about the SORA DORA Discovery Series. There's a promo. You can win a full bottle anywhere across the world. I'll tell you more what that means. And then lastly, collabs. I'm doing a number of collaborations with other content creators and perfume lovers. There is this man, and then this man, and who is this guy? I'll tell you more at the end. All right, so I mentioned, obviously, collabs. Last week, if you missed, on Sunday, this episode came out of 10 in 10, a new concept that Kevin and I are working on, or have developed. And the idea is that we want to quickly give you the top line information. There's so many fragrances. And we want to give you the top line information when it comes to different themes. We did date night, and one thing that I want to correct, because we have 10 fragrances in 10 minutes. We didn't realize how complicated the challenge of executing this properly, because the desire is to share as much information with you guys as possible to put it on your radar. How was this birthed? I was talking to Kevin and we were talking about fragrance, and I said, well, tell me in 60 seconds why I should get this. And then literally like a bing, little light bulb went in my brain, and I thought, 10 in 10, that would be cool to bring this to life, and the two of us sharing our love for different fragrances. Now, in that episode, you see me talk about this glorious fragrance here, which is Vaniglia by LABSOLUE. And I gave my arm to Kevin, and you see him a little bit perplexed. Now, as the video rolls, you see me also, because he says, oh, it's got a bit of a sandalwood base. And I'm like, sandalwood? And I remember smelling it, and I'm like, I don't know, wait. And then I'm like, oh, hang on a second. I gave him the wrong arm. And so I smelled my other arm. Watch the video and you see me doing this. And I'm like, dang it, it's on the other arm. But the timer was on and I had to keep moving. So today I want to clarify, there is no sandalwood in Vaniglia. No sandalwood, all right? That threw me off. But I want to, because as I watched that video, I'm like, there's no sandalwood. What there is, it does have a little bit of a woody, not woody, but it has like a resinous, ambery facet to it. There is olibanum. Now, one thing that makes Vaniglia, and I want to put this on your radar, everybody. So I'm going to give you two vanilla fragrances right now that you just need to have. Now that I've got a bit more time and I can speak with a bit more calm, I want to put back on your radar Vaniglia as a fragrance. If you like vanilla in fragrance, then you have to check this baby out. So one thing that it has is it's very true to life to a vanilla pod. For those people who love cooking, and you split open that vanilla bean and you open it up and it's kind of pulpy and a little bit, I mean, obviously the actual pod itself is very leathery feeling. And as you smell that, there's so many different facets to it. And this is what I love about a beautiful vanilla fragrance, when it can actually capture the different facets of that vanilla pod, because it's more than just gourmand. It's more than just a creme brulee, for instance. And I find that this particular fragrance here has this beautiful vanilla sweet touch, but with an animalic leather element to it. The best way I can define it in two words, it's a sweaty vanilla. So it has this a little bit animalistic, a little bit on the sexy, sensual, very, just, it's just sexy. It's a really, really gorgeous, very close to the skin fragrance. So it's not a big projector. This is not one that will fill a room. But if you are having intimate moments with a loved one, or you're going out and you want to create something a little bit different when it comes to your scent profile, Vaniglia is fantastic for that. The perfumer is Aurélien Guichard. So those who may know him through MATIERE Premiere, he actually created this for the LABSOLUE people. The long story behind this is Ambra, who is the owner of the business. She is, I call her the queen of perfume in Milan. She is literally royalty. She has been connected with the perfume world for years through her father, Roberto. Now, as they were building LABSOLUE, she actually spoke to a number of perfumers, and in this case here, she spoke to Aurelian and asked, could he make a beautiful vanilla fragrance? He uses a CO2 extraction of that vanilla pod, so you're getting a very, as I said, that real pulpy, juicy, slightly leather, animalic vanilla sweetness is what is coming through on this particular fragrance. I smelt it. The first time I was in the LABSOLUE lab, sprayed it once and I'm like, bada boom, put it on my tab. This is something that I need to have. It's a different expression. It's not, okay, so there is by BDK, leather vanilla, mind you, I've got it and I forgot the name. Anyway, boom, this one here. So that one there is a perfume and it's beautiful, the facets of the vanilla and the leather and you know, these other notes that are coming through. Whereas here, it's this very true to life vanilla pod that, but it's a perfume, but it's just gorgeous. I don't know how to, please go out and test it. This is something that is so unique, so just so divine. It's not woody, it does not have sandalwood. It is more pulpy, leathery, vanilla, and just very animalistic on skin. It's gorgeous. All right. The one that you do know when it comes to, I'm going to say most people know, from Aurélien Guichard and his brand MATIERE Premiere is vanilla powder. So this is my second one that I would recommend to you. And these two work wonderful as companions. A sweaty leather, very animalic, very sort of sensual and carnal. And this one here is sunshine in a bottle. This is happiness, not gourmand. So again, it doesn't go into any sort of creme brulee or pastries or anything of that nature. The core ingredients here is a Palo Santo, so it does have a woody sort of base to it. It does have coconut. It also has, obviously, the vanilla. There's one more thing in there. Boom, boom, I'll put it here. Actually, I wrote it down. Oh, the musk. It does have a musky touch. So as a vanilla scent, I mean, I have not put this on skin because it is potent. As a vanilla scent, it works so well on a man or a woman. I find that this is universal. I can show, like my granddaughter who loves perfume, this is her scent. Whenever, you know, she comes to the office, she's looking for vanilla powder. Actually, this one and Fire at Will. She likes vanilla. She loves Fire at Will for its creme brulee-ness, and this one here for its, she can't define it, but I know that she basically loves the vanilla touch that it has. For me, it is a lot more coconut, sunshine, woodiness when it goes into that dry down. When it comes to my editors, I also have another editor who is forever asking to put this on the library system. I have a good friend of mine who's a man who vanilla powder is his signature scent. So this transcends anyone. So if you like a good vanilla fragrance that is potent, strong, powerful, big, projecting, yada, yada, vanilla powder. If you want something a lot more sensual, a lot more close to you, a lot more intimate, then I would recommend to you Vaniglia. Boom, I've corrected that. I feel better. The universe is now balanced again because every time as I was editing and watching that, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, there's no sandalwood in Vaniglia. It's all very, actually, if anything, it has more, even though there's no florals, it has a very floral, warm base to it. So that Vaniglia has this beautiful, like, initially I thought it had like a magnolia or ylang-ylang or something like that because it's this beautiful sensual floral scent profile to it. But no, it's that CO2 vanilla extraction which is creating the magic. Bada boom boom. Okay, let me move on. Let me little drink because a couple of times throughout that I'm going restart, restart. I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep going. So here we go. So this is the NFC Discord. So I have a Discord server and it's part of the membership. I'll tell you a little bit more at the end of this. And the great thing about the NFC Discord is if you love perfume and if you want to have deep perfume conversations, if you want to put forward ideas, if you want to put forward, I'm looking at this particular fragrance, should I buy it? You'll get all these other perfume lovers. And these are people who have a deep appreciation for niche perfumery, jump on in and become conciliaries, essentially. You know, your counselors are all in this group here. Now, one of the questions that was raised by this man here, John, I call him the mayor of Discord, because no matter what server I go into, John is part of that conversation. I love it. So John is deeply in love with all things niche perfumery. And one of the questions he raised was, does anyone know a lot more about CHYPRE and CHYPRE fragrances? He was saying that he wants to categorize. Now, from there blossomed a great conversation on all things CHYPRE. A number of different things, points were raised, and I'll bring them up in this conversation today. But it didn't sort of conclude. It didn't sort of, there was no full stop on this. It was still left a little bit open-ended. John then sent me a private message through Insta, and he asked me, how would you feel about doing a CHYPRE conversation? And I know what he was saying, John, because I do love research. I love researching things. I love to understand. I love to unbox, and more than just ask Chat GPT, because you know I like to uncover through publications. Maybe I'm a bit old school. Maybe I am a lot old school, but I love books. I love the tactileness of books. Anyway, so I did do a little bit of research so I can present this to you guys today, and also so that I'm not bringing to you my my bias or my, you know, what I think it should be. So let's talk about CHYPRE. Let me address the very quick thing, which I think most people know. CHYPRE is in reference to the island of Cyprus. It's the French way of saying it. When you say anything in French, it always sounds better. Some people will disagree. I like French as a language. So, you know, if I can say something in French, not well, but if I can say it in French, then it just sounds legit. I think that's what it is. So anyway, CHYPRE is the French word for Cyprus, and the reason why the fragrance family became popular was a gentleman by the name of Francois COTY, 1917, created a fragrance called CHYPRE de COTY, and it was a hit. It just, at that time, it exploded on the scene. As a result, a number of other perfume houses mimicked the structure of this CHYPRE, the CHYPRE de COTY, and it then birthed this new fragrance family, which is CHYPRE. Now, what is that structure? Essentially, it's a citrus on the opening, bright citruses. In the heart, there are some florals, like in particular, like a jasmine or something of that nature. And then in the base, there are some woody, earthy notes, in particular, OAKMOSS. That's one of the key facets that make a CHYPRE distinguishable, or it's characteristic to stand out. In that Discord group I mentioned earlier, as the conversation was blossoming in there, one of the questions that was raised is like, well, that structure, citrus on the opening, florals in the heart, some kind of danky woods or musty woods, that exists in so many places. So how is it that all these fragrances are not deemed as CHYPRE? What makes a CHYPRE CHYPRE? Again, in my research, I looked at a number of different sort of areas and also interviews with perfumers answering this particular question. And the key part of it is that a CHYPRE tends to have darkness and light. So there's these interplaying of two facets within the fragrance. And it's not repulsion attraction. So it's not, that's a whole separate conversation. This is a beautiful fragrance, and think of Venus in her seashell coming to the shore. That painting is meant to be on the island of Cyprus. So it gives you an idea. Cyprus has always been sort of part of beauty, has been deemed as a beautiful place. And I'll go into more about that in a second. So a CHYPRE fragrance is always deemed as a beautiful fragrance. The difference here is the interplay of darkness and light. And the French word is clair obscur. So the idea is that you're getting something that is clear and sharp, but then with something that's a little bit mysterious and something that's a little bit different. That's, my brain's like, okay, so that's all the different pieces. But what made, so why Cyprus? I mean, why not Sardinia? Sardinia is a beautiful island too. You know, what made it, why are we sort of focusing on Cyprus as the island of beauty? Doing some more research, and in particular now I'm going to draw on Michael Edwards' book, which is Perfume Legends. And this book now, he talks about that the actual CHYPRE Accord, essentially, had been around for quite some time. And in particular, the reason why it was called CHYPRE, or it's taken from Cyprus, is the oak moss. The island of Cyprus is famous for its oak moss that are on the trees. Also, during medieval times, the island of Cyprus was a central port. It was a trading port between East and West. And on top of that, those perfume gloves, the gloves were being made, they're leather gloves, and they were being perfumed with this oak moss. So again, this is all connected. There's even more. As I mentioned before, this book here, there's quite a bit of information when it comes to all things about CHYPRE. And one of the points there is that they're saying also in medieval times that there used to be these oiselets de CHYPRE. Did I say that right, Luke? Which is basically birdies. And what they were is that they were wooden, scented, so these wooden carved birds that was scented in a particular way, used during medieval times as, you know, like something to smell nice, something you would carry with you. Because Ne is actually challenging the whole CHYPRE, that it was in reference to the island of Cyprus, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, that's a side story. No, sorry, I got distracted with that. I shouldn't have said that. I just should have left it alone. I did a lot of research. It was a lot of fun, actually. It was a lot of fun. And I'm actually thinking, sorry, side note, I'm going to do an actual episode. So I'll do it a lot more broken down, because here, as you know, MATÉ Talk is one continuous roll. So yeah, so this is me having a conversation with you. And I know that frustrates some people, but it's all good. It's all good. There are chapter markers. Just move on, move along. So, okay, yeah, this is it. So why was COTY's CHYPRE de COTY such a hit? And he continued to use that format. So So he used the oak moss. The difference is, and according to Michael Edwards, he said it was the genius of COTY that he was able to tweak those, add these extra lightness and these other notes in there, and tone down the oak moss, but still keep it relevant, because that's what made it CHYPRE. Within the fragrance. So these citruses, these beautiful floral, jasmine, things of that nature, and then this touch, this gentle touch of oak moss, now created this whole category. Prior to COTY's release of CHYPRE de COTY, it was actually like a CHYPRE fragrance was deemed more as a masculine fragrance because of the very heavy oak moss, that dank, woody, forest-like element to it. Whereas on his release, that fragrance became a hit amongst the women. And it was then the females, the ladies, who took off with this particular style of fragrance, and it blossomed. Early on in my Perfume NFC channel, there was a wonderful young lady by the name of Laura. She's a perfume expert. She is incredible. Her knowledge on perfumery is incredible, is just amazing. And she said to me that she loves CHYPRE, and as she was explaining, I realized that so do I. CHYPRE is where my heart lives, and she defined it as CHYPRE'S are the most beautiful perfumes in the world. She goes, look at fragrances that have been a hit, and you'll begin to discover that they're actually CHYPRE fragrances. Boom. Okay, so that's a little bit of the back history. A bit of a mess, I agree. I mean, thematically, I think I jumped around everywhere, but that gives you an idea. That gives you, like I said, we're having a conversation as if we're at a party, and so of course, in conversations you get distracted, and that's what I get. Now, one thing that's happened, unfortunately, IFRA, we love these people, they banned oak moss. In 2020, they said, oh no, it's creating some skin rash or something or other on people, so no more oak moss no more natural oak moss in fragrance. Now this has thrown the whole CHYPRE sort of construct into a bit of a tailspin, because and again, through Michael Edwards' words, so this is Michael Edwards and the book, Perfume Legends, he mentioned that it's been tough to actually emulate that oak moss note synthetically as robust as nature provides it. They're getting better. So supposedly of late, there's been a few more fragrances that have been released that have almost that same robust dankness that oak moss can provide. That sort of that. Truthfully, I've never smelled oak moss in nature, so I don't know exactly what it is, other than the things that I've read. One thing that Michael Edwards did do on the fragrance wheel is, because he says that it's very hard to now define a Chypre, so what he's done, he's created mossy woods. So in answer to a bit of a question that John had in that NFC Discord, how do I define what is a Chypre? Have a look at fragrances that fall in that mossy wood category, and you're going to find that these are now Chypre designed fragrances. Okay, boom. All right, so tuk 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 tuk. The thing that we're always, okay, so what's been replacing the oak moss and that sort of in a more natural way, it has been patchouli. So if you see patchouli in there, so fragrances are still listing oak moss as a fragrance note, but know that it's a synthetic molecule that's been created to emulate or to mimic that oak moss in nature. Now what I want to do today is provide 4 fragrances. So if you want to know, if you want to, get your head around what is a Chypre and do I like it, is this something that I want to explore as a fragrance family? This is what you're asking yourself. Then I want to put 4 fragrances here to you, and with different nuances. Okay, so let me start with the classic. So what do we want to know? What does a Chypre fragrance, similar to what Coty may have created, and I would say that it's 1872 masculine as a great place to be. Clive Christian, if I ever find a wheelbarrow full of cash, I promise that I'll buy every single Clive Christian that is out there. I do like them. Some people feel that they're overpriced. Yeah, that's probably true. They are pretty exy. But I love everything about this brand. I love the heritage of the brand. In this case here, 1872 is making reference to the original company, which was Crown Perfumery Co., and how Queen Victoria actually allowed or gave permission for them to use her crown as part of their bottle design. As you uncover, this is a brand that has multiple Easter eggs. As you uncover, you see more and more things, even to the point where, like the bottle, you have the original embossed logo of Crown Perfumery Co. On the inside of the bottle, Crown Perfumery Co. It's just everything about this brand. I'm a sucker for it. I mean, they just do a really good job. And then the perfumes are exceptional and really knock out of the park. This was one of my first fragrances that I ever bought when I first started getting into niche. I felt like such a big boy, such a big boy. Honestly, I felt like I had just crossed over a massive bridge as I bought my first Clive Christian, and this was the one. Now, 1872 masculine is classic Chypre in that so you have a fougere, which, and I know I'm going to get a lot of people who dislike me for this. I find fougères very boring. In that they tend to be very, very structured. It's boom, bada boom, bada bing. And I also find that there are people who are very passionate about a fougère structure, and in the moment you deviate, these individuals get very upset. But I find that it's the same thing for me. Whereas I find that the Chypre has so many more different facets that sort of bounce around and create more intrigue, and I think that's what I like. I like the intrigue that these fragrances provide versus a fougère. I have a number of fougères, so in my own defense, I do have a number of fougères that I like, but I don't gravitate to them naturally. Okay. So what I like about 1872 is, for me, this is the most sophisticated, the most debonair, the most almost classic English person that I can imagine. This is a really well-suited man. This is, I can almost picture him in 1872, you know, very debonair, just, you know, a man about town sort of style, you know, top hat and all that sort of thing. For me, this is my suit up fragrance. This is the one that brings a level of confidence. This is the one that makes me feel that, well, makes me feel like a masculine man, like, you know, like I've got muscles and, you know, I feel strong wearing this fragrance. It's not, this is the other thing about it. So even though I feel those, so all those elements, you know, it's a masculine, it's not overpowering in the sense that it's not one of these heavy leathery or, you know, something that just sort of screams like, look at me, you know, He-Man style. In fact, it's this quiet, reassuring quiet, reassuring strength. The key facets here for me are the spicy element. So it has like a sharp aromatic lavender. It also has this beautiful, it does have clary sage in it. So it has this green herbal piece to it. And it does have a woody dry down to it. So there is cedar wood in its base. Even though there's no patchouli that I know of. And the funny thing is that all the notes are not completely revealed, but I do get this danky mustiness from the actual fragrance. Like a forest undergrowth, but it's also, I can see the top of the trees, the canopy, the sunshine streaming through the leaves. There's nothing heavy about this fragrance. It does this equal part of the sort of the strong earth, the strong sort of reassuring feeling of having your feet firmly planted on the ground, but at the same time it gives you the aspiration that there, as I said, you can see the top of the trees, you can see the leaves, and you can see the sunshine streaming through. It's just gorgeous. This is one that is a big hitter in my family, only for the boys. The girls, this is not one that they ever reach for. You can see that it's been hit pretty hard. My son Nelson is a big fan of this fragrance, and interestingly on him, as a younger man, and skin chemistry, I think it's a real thing. On him, it plays a lot lighter. On me, it does go a little bit more on the deeper sort of side of things. Like I do get more of the, not necessarily musk, but definitely deeper woods, and a little bit more rumble, whereas on him it stays sort of light, aromatic. There are woods there, but it's a lot lighter on him. Boom. I'm gonna stop. I just realized 27 minutes. I wanted this to be a short MATÉ talk. Someone once said there are no such things as short MATÉ talks, and I have to agree. All right, I'm gonna stop and I'll be right back. Boom. And back. I love perfume, and this is why, even though I've only got 6 perfumes today, it's just like the moment I get started, and I just want to share with you guys these different things and why these fragrances need to be explored, and you need to check them out. And this is why 60 seconds to talk about one fragrance. That's like leaping over a building in a single bound. All right, so the next fragrance that I want to put forward to you, also within that CHYPRE style, is this one here. Boom. How would you pronounce that? I want you to say it to camera. My son, so the brand is ORMONDE, and my son Nelson, he loves this fragrance, and he says, ISFARKAND, and then he says good at the end of it. The D is silent, hillbilly, so it's actually pronounced ISFARKAND. How does he say it? ISFARKAND. No, ISFARKAND. It's actually ISFARKAND. So ISFARKAND is it's a made-up word, and it's actually in tribute to the Silk Road and the towns that used to be along there. And in particular, Isfahan is one of the towns. And it's about this, the trade of spices and exotic ingredients that began to sort of travel from east to west. This fragrance here, the owner of the brand is Linda Pilkington. If you ever get a chance to meet this woman, she is so dynamic. She's a petite woman, but if you could see her spirit animal, it's a towering, majestic lion. She's a lioness. Actually, she's not lioness because she's not she's not intense, but she's whatever a majestic animal, that's what she is. She's really incredible. She's a woman who has, if you look at the different facets of her life, she's been led by the universe. I mean, just the way things have weaved across her life, things that have come into her life. It's almost like a book that you read. Anyway, so this fragrance here, she created for her husband for his 30th, I think, or something to that effect. But essentially, she created it for her husband as a bit of a surprise. The fragrance was a hit in the sense that a lot of people were like, wow, what is that? Where can I get that? They knew that she was a perfumer. She had her own fragrance line. So they're like, can I buy this one here? Hence why she released it. Now, this is a wonderful woody Chypre. Where 1872, as I mentioned, is very masculine leaning. In my family, that is definitely the case. The women do not reach for this particular fragrance. Whereas this one here, my wife does love wearing it, and she loves it when I'm wearing it. The other day, I sprayed it on my 4-year-old grandson, and he smelled just like a little boss. It's a confident maker. There's something about the scent profile here that it has this equal part of the gentle citrus with a fruity touch to it, but it has this wonderful woody, confident, this aromatic brightness in the actual construct of the fragrance. There are no fruits, so I've got it here. Give me 1 second. When it opens, it has a burst of these citruses that just make you happy to be alive. The moment you spray it, you're like, where have you been all my life? It just brings sunshine regardless of, whether it's a gloomy day or a sunshine day. This is a great going out fragrance. This is a great summer fragrance. As it begins to dry down, you are retaining this fruit touch. There is pink pepper in the heart of it. And even though pink pepper does have a brightness to it, the fruit touch that is in there is almost apple-like. There's this sweetness in there that is hard to, well, for me at least, to pinpoint. But it does have this beautiful, it does have oak moss, so there is an oak moss note in there. But it also has patchouli in there. And I think this woody, sort of slightly musty dankness to the fragrance is also part of its magic. It doesn't stay in one place. As I said, it does have this darkness, or this contrast, this darkness and light. There are that brightness in there, but then it has this woody seriousness about it. It's this beautiful interplay. Where 1872 is a lot sharper and has these spicy herbal elements to it, here there is a beautiful softness. It has a roundness, hence why it also plays well on a 4-year-old boy. So yeah, it smells really good. And also why I believe it also can play really well on a woman. So as a beautiful woody Chypre, I would recommend to you ISFARKAND. ISFARKAND. There you go. Boom. Not the other word. All right, the next one that I want to put to you is one that I can wear. So you have BDK's Pas ce Soir, which was released. This was one that I could not wear as a man. My wife, Sandra, adopted this as her fragrance. Of course she did. It's a more female-leaning fragrance. Beautiful quince note in there with this wonderful Egyptian jasmine, or this jasmine note. It's floral. It has tinges of gourmand, but there are no gourmand notes in there in Pas ce Soir. It's for me, it's feminine, just power, just gorgeous. So that is also a Chypre fragrance. The one that I want to put to you is the Extrait version. So this is Pas ce Soir Extrait, and now all the feelings that I would have as Sandra would wear Pas ce Soir, I now have for myself as I wear the Extrait. This is fantastic for a man to wear. This is now more of a fruity gourmand. There are gourmand notes in here, and I think in particular, let me find out. I know that there are more fruit notes like the pear and the quince is still present. I'm not sure. Actually, I'll put it here. If there are some sort of vanillas or something of that nature, I'll put it here. What I get from this particular fragrance, and as I was preparing, because I'd sprayed it earlier, constant getting this thing coming in and coming out, and washing in and washing away. The two that are fighting each other is 1872 on this arm and Pas Ce Soir on this arm here. And every time I'd smell either one of the two, this wash over of happiness is, you know, when you think of a happy thought, like, you know, tonight I'm gonna go to the circus. If the circus is what you love doing, I don't know why I said circus, but tonight I'm going to the theater. There we go. You just, you know, you have these happy sort of feelings as this memory comes to you. Well, this is what's happening as I'm smelling these two fragrances. As I smell Pas Ce Soir with this beautiful gourmand, floral, ambery touch, it's a sense of happiness. All right, let me tell you a bit about it. So it differs immensely. In my books, it differs immensely from Pas Ce Soir. As I said, I cannot wear Pas Ce Soir. I mean, the moment I would spray it, it would feel awkward on me. It just feels uncomfortable. It's like I'm wearing a suit that's 10 times my size, you know, and I'm just flopping around in this thing. So Pas Ce Soir is that for me from an olfactory point of view, whereas the Extrait it fits me like a glove. It's me all over, the warm ambery tones that it has, but again, that beautiful balance between the floral, the slight floral notes that are in there with this beautiful patchouli dankness at the base, mixed in with this delicate pear quince note that's in there. It's sultry, seduction, sensual, it's divine, it's happiness, it's glorious. A big recommendation for those who, if you may have thought to yourself, well, but I own Pas Ce Soir, I'd really recommend to you, check out the Extrait, see the difference between the two. If you're a man and you thought, well, I bought Pas Ce Soir for my wife, I'm telling you boys, you can easily have this as your fragrance. I'm looking at some of the other things here. So I put here seduction on overdrive, and I totally believe that. Pas Ce Soir Extrait, magic. All right, last one. So I'm back to these guys, and as I said, if I did find that wheelbarrow full of cash, I would buy every single Clive Christian. I just love the brand. I love everything about it. It's just, even as dorky as this is, or as geeky as this is, the feel of the bottle. I love the feel, the way it just sort of sits in my hand. I know it's mega nerdy, but it's just the way it is. This one here. Now, I'm a big believer that perfumery is for everyone, and that we need to push aside this notion that because it has fruit notes, floral notes, whatever, that it's now deemed as a feminine thing, and if it has more masculine, you know, like woody notes and leathers and blah, blah, it's a masculine thing. The reason why I say that, and I'm not trying to be progressive or cool or anything of that nature, you got to go with what do you like, and really let that govern how you move forward. So if you are a man and you find that floral notes are not your thing, well, that's cool. Don't do floral notes. But if you're a man and you're thinking, I actually like a little bit of rose in my fragrance, a little bit of jasmine in my fragrance, then that's what you do. If you're a woman and the opposite is true, some leathery notes, some more woodier sort of tones, aromatic, sort of brighter notes, I say you do you, and whatever you feel confident and comfortable with, that's what you should do. So this is X-Feminine, and I bought this for me. So this is not one that Sandra likes to wear. She's not a fan of high fruity notes, even though, in my opinion, this does not have high fruity notes in it. There is peach in the opening, and I think there is another fruit note in there. Peach is really the hero here. However, and I don't know whether my fragrance has further maturated over time, because originally when I had it, that peach note fruitiness was definitely coming through. But in spraying it today, and I actually did it twice, I washed it off and I sprayed again because I thought maybe something's wrong here, or not wrong, but like maybe I mixed it in with something else that I had on my hand, on my arm. The peach note has pared itself back. Now this bottle I've had now for about maybe 2 years, and it's it's like I always loved it. I mean, here's an episode that I created a while back and spoke about how much I love this fragrance. But today I'm like, oh my gosh, this has now taken a whole new life, and it's become something absolutely incredibly beautiful. The difference is this: the peach note is still present, so you have this beautiful, gentle peach, almost with a slight jasmine, white floral touch that comes through. But now you're getting a beautiful, as it dries down, this spicy patchouliness about it too. So there are some patchouli notes in there, but there is this, again, that beautiful oak moss or that danky earth, musty sort of scent profile to it. But it interplays between the two. It doesn't go and stay in that place. I am getting some of those lighter florals and also fruit notes, but then it goes back into that more sort of sensual, more deeper notes with the patchouli and things of that nature. Gorgeous, really. Ex-feminine. Buy it, spray it so that it can get some oxygen in there, and then put it aside, put it away somewhere, and then come back to it. So boys, if you don't want your fruity notes to sort of be punching through, that's really impressive. So there you go, 4 fragrances that are CHYPRE'S, all in different. This one here is deemed more as a fruity CHYPRE, but right now I'm not getting too heavily on those fruit notes. It's actually quite subdued beautifully. Boom, that's it. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on all things CHYPRE'S. What are some of the CHYPRE'S that you like? Tell me, did I cover it correctly? I know I sort of bounced around a little bit. Hopefully it wasn't too disconnected and made sense. For me, as I sort of unbox, when I fall in love with something, I try to see what kind of, what family does it fall in. In a lot of cases, fragrances that I absolutely love are actually CHYPRE'S. So it gives you an idea of how beautiful these fragrances are. All right, so let me that's it. So no more talk about I'm now going to talk about other things other than just a straight review on fragrances. So if you just came in to find out about perfumes and some recommendations, thank you for your company. You're welcome to stay on. I'm now going to be talking about more of the community side of things. I do have some promos, so if you're interested in finding out about these promos, then obviously stay on. But otherwise, if you are leaving me, grazie a tutti. Thank you so much for your company. I appreciate you being here. Leave you to subscribe. It's a great support to the channel. And now I'm pushing forward. So let me tell you about membership. So membership is something that I started a little while back on the channel. It's a great way to help the channel. So, I mean, it's not a lot of money, but I figured that the more members that join, it's strength in numbers, basically. So it's a small contribution on your part. It's $4 Aussie. Here is the breakup across the world. And now some of the benefits of being a member. 1, obviously, it's grazie for being a support. 2, it's actually gaining access to that NFC Discord. There's a great conversation in there. If you love all things perfumery, niche perfumery, you want to get some recommendations, you'll find that the community in here will answer your questions. I don't get a chance to answer everybody's questions. I get a lot of questions coming at me, whether through email, DMs, and through comments on YouTube. Whereas if you put a question in here, you'll find that there is a great support network in there. So if you want to join, by being a member, you get access to that. The other thing is that at the end of every month, I do a spin and win, spin the wheel. All members will be part of that wheel. And if you win, you now have a chance for me to send you something. And the idea is that you tell me the kind of fragrances that you like. I actually have a number of different samples. Actually, I was going to show it to you, but I don't have it. Oh, yep, I don't have it. And I'll send you, so I don't decant anything, okay? So you'll get genuine samples. You tell me kind of fragrances that you enjoy. I'll then curate it and send it across to you anywhere in the world. Boom. Okay, so that's becoming a member. Now, the next thing. So I mentioned a few weeks back about the Discovery series, and I was very happy, warmed the cockles of my heart to know that people love this concept. So I will continue to push forward. I also got a number of great recommendations when it comes to Discovery series that I should be looking at to go live with. So what I'm going to do is obviously continue to go down that path. The one that I want to put on your radar, if you missed it, is the SORA DORA Discovery Series. This is, for me, SORA DORA is a brand that doesn't get enough airplay personally. They've got a number of really, really beautiful fragrances. I reached out to the team, and they have been very generous in donating a full bottle of anything from the white collection. So currently there are 4 fragrances in that collection. This is the competition that you have a chance to win a full bottle of anything that you prefer from that white collection. And all you have to do is use the code NFC10, jump on the SORA DORA website, purchase a discovery set from them, and then send me the photo. So it's just, as long as you can validate that you actually did that, send me the photo of this discovery set, and then just watch these 2 episodes. That's all. And it's really just a chance to experience these fragrances alongside me in the Discovery series. If you like other fragrances, you can continue to use that NFC 10. That will get you a 10% discount plus free delivery across the world, including on that Discovery set. Now, there are people who, so I'm going to backdate this, and this is a question that I asked the good people from SORA DORA, and they said, yep, no problems at all. So the time that I actually pre-releasing the episode, I know there were a few people who purchased the Discovery set, in particular Marcus, Noah, I'm talking to you guys, and Tom here locally in Australia. These are 3 people that I know purchased the Discovery set to join me on that Discovery series episodes. So you guys qualify instantly. Your names are already on that wheel, all right? So everybody else who also purchased a Discovery set, please send me that the proof of purchase. It has to be within a time frame. So I'll have a look at when that episode came out. I'll backdate that for about 2 or 3 weeks. And that's the sort of the parameters. So basically what I'm saying is, if you bought it last year, it doesn't qualify. All right, so I'm sorry to tell you that. It has to be recent purchases, all right, that have occurred. So send me a DM. You'll be put into the wheel. Any orders going through now, moving forward, and the competition will go live on the 19th of June. So I'll spin the wheel on the 19th of June. You've got 4 weeks. If you would like to participate, all you got to do again is just buy that Discovery set and you'll go into the draw. Boom. All right, the last thing, and before I close, is the collaborations that I'm doing. I really love, and those who are familiar with the channel, you've seen me actually do a lot of work with other, whether it be perfumers or whether it be brand owners, other collaborators when it comes to content creators, in particular, obviously Kevin. We've become business partners and also obviously good friends. So the 10 and 10 KM, the KM 10 and 10 has been a great success. Actually, the episode did really, really well. The next episode that we're actually filming is summer, so that'll come out shortly. If there are other things that you would like us to do, put it in the comments. What sort of themes would you like us to sort of put on our radar and create some further episodes for you guys? This coming Sunday, I also did a collaboration with this wonderful man here who is Liam. He is Dr. Liam. And we did 2 episodes together. One is Head Turners, so recommendations that he has from the Noah showroom, and also Modern Classics, which I really enjoyed that. So these 2 episodes are coming out, and I finished filming on Saturday with this very handsome man here. He has this natural coolness, this guy. For those who know him, this is Daniel. For those who don't know him, this is his channel. You need to follow this man. I love the way he expresses himself about perfume. He always says, as he starts, I'm not going to talk about notes. I don't break down notes. It's more about the art, the feeling, the expression. So it's almost like he's the way I see it, he's like an art critic in the sense that he can break things down in such a way that it sort of becomes accessible. You're like, wow, you can actually see from a user point of view how this particular fragrance is performing. Watch his channel. I did him a disservice. Watch his channel. He's awesome. Now, the 2 of us, because I had a chance to meet Daniel recently when we were in Milan. We did a 1-day tour. Daniel joined us on that. I wanted to see if I could connect with this man. You know, who I see on screen isn't who I will meet in person. And I have to say that it's the same person, which was wonderful to experience. We connected really well, and so we did 2 episodes. Now, the idea behind these episodes is that someone has the last say. And what I mean by that is, I love when we can, if it occurs, that we can be agreeable even though we may disagree. So someone may say, I hate 1872. Well, hate's a bit strong, but I don't like it at all. That's cool. I like that. Tell me why. I mean, and it begins to unbox and you begin to see it from a different perspective. So the idea behind The Last Say is about the 2 of us talking about one perfume that we both own. Ultimately, I'm going to say we both enjoy it because we own it, but it's gaining this different perspective. So seeing how Daniel sees this fragrance and then how I see this fragrance. These episodes will play off each other's channels. So the first episode that's coming out will be broadcasting on my channel on NFC, and then the other one that's coming out will broadcast off his channel. So that's what I'm saying. Please follow him, and that way you can see this interplay between the 2 of us on a particular fragrance if you want to get a different perspective in real time, because we're actually talking to each other via like a Zoom, WhatsApp sort of thing. Boom! Done. That was a short MATÉ talk. Thanks everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know any comments, any thoughts that you have, shippers that you love, things that you'd like to see in the future. I'm all about creating new content, different approaches to the art of perfumery, and yeah, about beautiful smells in the niche field. So I don't look at designers. There's already a lot of great content out there on designer fragrances through other channels. I just like to focus on niche perfumery. Thanks everyone, see you on the next episode. Boom. Are you in love with niche perfumery?
What if you could meet the visionaries behind these niche fragrances?
What if you could slow this right down and enjoy a full day experience with them, including lunch and being able to go behind the scenes?
KM Fragrance Tours is the world's first touring company where we specialize putting on unique perfume experiences.
This is about slowing things down and enjoying time with the perfume creators, with the perfumers, and those favorite brands that you love. Past 2 years, we've been enjoying France. This year, it's all about Italy.
This is going to be a 9-day luxury tour where we're going to take you to Milan, Florence, and Rome.
It's about experiencing the tastemakers in each of those cities and enjoying time with those creators.
All of the brands coming on board, they're wanting to put on a show for you guys.
We are going to Maio Fascioni's new temple. He's moved from Salso Maggiore, coming to Sarzana, and it's a whole new expression. We will be the first in the world to experience this. A common question is, where am I going to stay? I'm happy to advise that we have hand-selected each of the hotels in the 3 cities.
These are amazing luxury properties. Take a look at the first property we'll be staying at in Milan. Magna Paz, this is the first perfume hotel in the world.
Everywhere that you go within Magna Paz is actually perfumed in a different way. Every room has its own signature scent, and you'll have a chance to do an olfactory check-in.
Now what does this mean? We're gonna send you the set of LABSOLUE fragrances. Every fragrance actually belongs to a room in the hotel.
You have the chance now, in the luxury of your own home, to select the fragrance note that resonates best with you, and we'll lock in that room just for you.
Now dining, where will we be eating at throughout the tour? We have picked restaurants for us to relax, experience the authentic local flavor of Italy.
I'm happy to say that I've tested these restaurants when I was recently in Italy we actually went to these places to make sure that they're going to be good enough for you.
Now, you don't need to be an expert to join us on these tours. The last few years, we've had guests that have just started their niche fragrance journey join us, and even some couples that actually brought their partner along who didn't really know anything about perfumes at all, but loved their experience on the tour.
It's about the pleasure of being in this unique location alongside someone who is the master in their field.
Visionary, an artist in their craft.
And it's about the joy and the pleasure of travel.
Now, this isn't just a tour. It's a journey through scent, through the history of Italy, with people who share your passion for fragrances.
I'd like to invite you to join us on this upcoming tour. If you want to know more, please email us or jump on our website for further details.